primary question before the court is whether acts of family violence have been committed between the parties to justify the extension of this order. Family violence includes physical violence, but it also includes things like trespassing and stalking, as well as any felony conduct of any sort. And so my questions will tend to focus on that. There may be times where I allow the parties to sort of have the floor and go a little more free form if they're, if people seem comfortable and it's helpful to allow them to just speak. And then I'll filter out what's important to the hearing and what's not myself. Other times I may have to jump in and focus us in on specific things. So, Ms. Benjamin, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear any statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, I swear.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Tell us, if you would, the respondent is a DeKalb County resident to the best of your knowledge. Is that right?
Oh, you want me to start?
I'm sorry. So, Ms. Benjamin, you may not have heard my question. Does the respondent live in DeKalb County?
Yes, to the best of my knowledge.
All right. Were you two married?
Yes.
And are you still married?
Yes.
Okay. And you two have one or more children together. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And your child is 5?
Yes.
All right. You describe an incident that took place at the end of May. Tell us what happened.
Well, things started actually before that, like the end of things started about 7-8 months or so ago. Basically, I'll say September. At the time I was unaware my husband filed divorce. How I figured out in October when my daughter was served, because she's an adult. Okay, fine. However, that's when things started happening as far as my emails, my phones, and things like that. At first, my husband was saying it was his phone too, what have you. However, it's not something he continued to complain about. That he said that initially, but after that, he didn't have that issue anymore. I also did pull his call log when we both were primary on the phone account, and on that call log, he's calling somebody all the time by the name of Kirk Casey in September. This person is a tech guy, so I suspect my husband is having him or someone else constantly terrorize me online. And my emails have been hacked. There's time my attorney was filtered out of my emails. I've had to pay Yahoo money, contact Yahoo to get my attorney back so I could get emails from the court and emails from my attorney. When I text my husband, when I text my husband things on on the phone, the family plan that we have, because I have to have more than one phone because of this hacking issue. When I text him on that phone, this is how it comes out. I'm going to show you how it comes out. I text him on that phone and I go send it like to myself or my friend. It'll come out like this. So basically, I put it closer. Basically, it destroys and distorts the documents. Also, and it's documentation that I can use in court, or documentation of him saying inappropriate things that might sound rude or not fatherly or not nice, that he don't want me to take to court. It's never anything else. It's always things that could be used against him. And I just don't think that's a coincidence. Also, my phone, I've been through about 7-8 phones and numbers. The Androids kept getting hacked. So, okay, this is what on this phone number I used to have here, you'll see it in the police call report, because I have been making reports about these things. But right here, that phone number I had, that's ClebGuard. ClebGuard is a spy app. And just to give you a little bit about it, it's a spy app. And you're not supposed to put it, it's for really if you put it on your child's phone or something like that. However, if you filed for divorce in September, you should not have ClebGuard, M-Spy, anything on my phone. Not at this point.
So let me. All right, so let me jump in with some things that I need to kind of cross off my list here. So what physical violence, if any, has happened between the two of you?
Well, there's no physical violence. I try to stay away from him as much as I can because of some of the comments he makes. My daughter's right here. We told him before, we don't feel safe around you. Like my brother one time exchanged my son to him and was like, said something about, man, just man up, that's your kid, blah, blah, blah. he took such offense to that he told me, your brother getting real lippy. He just don't know that other side of me. He just don't know, like, but I don't care. Stuff like that. He does that, and then he'll get in front of you or someone else with a straight, calm face, and somebody who's just straight and calm and wears a mask in front of everyone, but then you seem real evil and cruel to us. And I have other witnesses of all of this. There's somebody to
there been situations
be afraid of what they'll
where there's been any kind of
March 31st, he did come to the apartment. He said he was coming to get our child. However, a witness, and the witness even told the cop this, because I called the police on March 31st. This is the call number for that call. I called the police, and the witness that was there had told me he was already circling the neighborhood and peeking through my car windows and things like that before he even knocked on my door. So if you're there to get our son, why do you need to circle the neighborhood and do all that before you knock my door? Why are you looking through my car windows? Why are you doing all of that? And so when I told him it's not a good day because it was the last day for me to move out of the place I was at, I felt very safe there, by the way. I broke my lease to run off from that place because it got so bad. People sitting at the gate, and I know he had them there late at night. I know he did. But
how do you know that?
I told him you can't get them. It's just because because like I told you about somebody coming in and out the house. When I was moving, it got so bad that they were ripping the tape off the boxes. There's a lock that was installed on that door, and it's a fingerprint lock and a code lock. He installed that lock. My husband installed that lock, and it was for our son because he's autistic. Okay. My husband installed that lock, and he made a crazy comment when he installed it, like, well, put your code in because I don't want you to think I put a code. And I'm like, what is he talking? Why would he say that? And now fast forward, somebody was coming in and out of my house and taking things, pictures of me and him, wedding pictures, medical records of him, my son, dishes, stuff like that. Like, why would anybody take that? Pictures of us on dates. That doesn't make sense. Wedding pictures of us. But anyhow, I told him he couldn't get our son. He said, well, I'm gonna wait 30, 45 more minutes. I told him no, go ahead and leave, because I was already told he was circling the neighborhood and peeking through my car. Okay. And he told me, no, I'm gonna wait. I was like, no, go ahead and leave. It's not a good time. So then instead of leaving, he goes off to the car and go parks on the other part of the parking lot, kind of facing me. It's from a distance, I guess, just to be intimidating and letting me know he's not gonna leave. But when the cops came, of course, he left. He disappeared, like, right when the cops came. They went to talk to him. He was gone. So they did escort my daughter and her boyfriend where they were going. That's one thing. Another thing he did, it was a police call I made. This was June, or was it the end of May? End of May. Okay, I spoke to him on the text messages because we don't really talk. And it was about our son. And I said, he keeps getting sick. I want to keep him with me so he can get well, because he had been to the doctors, I don't know, 3 times in a month and a half, 3, 4, and he kept getting put on antibiotics. So he was like, I understand, right? In the text, he didn't say anything about coming to church or anything like that. I go to church, and I'm about to get prayer, and I look over, he's at my church. Mind you, I was not a member of this church before he filed for a divorce. He's never been to this church. The day before, you didn't mention you would come by the church. You don't live near the church. You had no reason to come to that church. You don't know anybody there except for me and my best friend. So he comes to the church. When he was at the church, he didn't say anything to me or what have you. And then when he leaves the church, he was outside, sitting in the car running in a court. That's what security said. And it's a lot of the security at our church, they're officers and state patrols or what have you, but they're also members of the church. So he's sitting out there with his car running beside a car that looked like my car. Just strange things. However, didn't say nothing to me. And to this day, hadn't said anything to me about him showing up at church like that. It's all just to be very passively intimidating and stuff like that. And I want him to stop having people like my mom's niece and other people stop monitoring me and feeding things back to him about me. That third party monitoring, I want all of that to stop. He had M-Spy in the bank statement, something like ClearGuard, that he submitted to court. So that's something you pay for to have put on somebody's phone. You can control the text messages, the calls, you can delete them, you can do whatever the person can do with their phone, you can almost do everything they can do. It's in the bank statements that he paid for that monthly. Probably still is. He does have an issue. I say case because he did get in trouble. He can be violent. He is a paranoid schizophrenic. He just hides it. So sometimes he's thinking he might be delusional about something and swear that that's truth, and you can't tell him it's not. So I don't know if he's treating me cruel because of whatever he's thinking something is. However, the case number is 2006 CR 1026, and this is when he got into a thing with the officers in Rockdale County, and when he had a mental breakdown from schizophrenia. If you want to see that, you have 2 guns that are registered in your name because that felony was expunged. I help you expunge it, so I know that. And you have a gun under your front.
Right. So we need to
seat and
focus in on things going on between you two, not the issues he has in Rockdale or with police. So what?
Okay, I want him to stop hacking me. Stop me.
All right. So
My
have you
friend's
put
phone.
any? All right. And were there any exhibits that you've submitted that you want us to look at?
Probably initially, but when I first talked to the first judge, what have you, there are some other things I can submit, but I didn't, I wasn't even sure about today, but I can submit some things. And because of the Find My Phone, like when you shut your location off, you can do Find My Phone and it show the last place your phone is in or where your phone is, right? I did Find My Phone and it showed Hampton, Georgia. I've never been to Hampton, Georgia. However, on a specific date I can give you, he was in Hampton, Georgia. So in October, he was in Hampton, Georgia, in the wee hours of the morning. Also, he has a coworker. He has a couple of them. One of them is Dana Northern. Dana Northern lives in Hampton, Georgia. So I kept finding on Find My Phone, it said Hampton, Georgia.
What does this have to do with the protective order? Help me understand the link.
Because it's stalking, and if he always knows where I am, and I'm always concerned about my safety, is somebody going to do something to me? It's like I can't get off of radar. I can't hide. It's like I can't be safe. And always having other people monitor me, and someone sees the Discord just so I can be vulnerable. I want to be safe. I don't want him stalking me, watching me, circling any neighborhood I'm in. Because I don't feel safe with him. I don't feel safe. And my daughter, what has he said to you before that she's 22, she's right here. That concerns you regarding, you gotta talk to the judge.
She's not gonna talk right now. She
Okay.
frankly shouldn't have been in here for all of this, but that's a separate issue. So I'm right now, what we're gonna do is turn to Mr. Benjamin if he has questions, and then if you want to have your other witness testify, then I'll swear them in and I'll hear from them. So Mr. Benjamin, do you have questions for this witness that you think the court should ask? You can tell them to me and I'll ask them if I think the questions are appropriate. I won't ask them if I think they're not helpful to the decisions I have to make today.
All right. So pertaining to her phone being hacked, she has called Metro and transferred my service to her phone. My phone was
Hang on now. Hang on. We're not there yet.
Okay.
I need to know that there's a question mark at the end of whatever you're going to say.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for that is because this is for questions. She and all of her witnesses, whether it's none, 1, or 50, they all go. And then when they're done, that's when you and any witnesses you may have the opportunity to make statements and testify. So for just this part of it, it's questions for this one witness, Ms. Benjamin. Do you have any questions for her, keeping in mind you'll still be able to testify later?
Sure. The question is about the phone that's on the family plan. You don't use that phone. The question is, when did the hacking start? No, how can I word this? Because how were you able to know that I'm in Hampton, Georgia? Or how do you know where I'm at?
Well, thank you for admitting it. I've never been to Hampton, Georgia. I never knew you went to Hampton, Georgia, and we've been married 11 years.
But you said find my phone.
Hang on. First off, I can't understand any of you if you're talking over each other. So, so I'm gonna try to direct the questions here. Right. So let me clarify something. Miss Benjamin,
Yes.
what device or person or whatever appeared to be in Hampton, Georgia when you looked?
Okay, that maybe I didn't make it clear before, but like I said, I put Find My Phone. You know how you have Find My Phone.
I'm aware.
Huh?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you do Find My Phone to locate your phone. So I shut off my location. You can shut off your location, and then you put in Find My Phone on a computer or something. It's going to show the last location of your phone before your location was shut off. My phone's location had been shut off about a week because of the hacking issues, etc. Right? So I put Find My Phone, and then it showed Hampton, Georgia. It didn't just do that once. It's been on there about 3 times. Now it didn't click. I'm like, Hampton, Georgia, where is that? I Googled it to see where it was. I've never been there. You see what I'm saying? So
my question is, when you say Find My Phone, did you type my number in? Because if you said Find Your Phone.
Find My Phone is an app for Androids to find your phone. You know that app. I think you might have showed me how to use it, didn't you?
So what do you put in when you go to a different device and you go to search it in? How do you know what device it's looking for?
You put Find My Phone, and then on it, when you put Find My Phone, you can put your own phone number in, or your Gmail rather is connected to that, because your Gmail and your location, right? So if your location is off of your phone and you go to Find My Phone and your Gmail is in, it'll show you the location or last location of your phone. It'll also show you your IMEI number, your ID, attached to your phone. And it's Hampton, Georgia, and that's been on multiple occasions. And I was confused because I've never been to Hampton, Georgia.
You typed in my Gmail and my phone number.
No,
That's
it was
yours.
my Gmail. That's the problem. That's why thank you for admitting it. But that's why I'm saying I never been to Hampton, Georgia. And I never knew you ever went to Hampton, Georgia. And we married 11 years, known each other 17, 18. I never knew you knew anybody in Hampton, Georgia.
So it sounds to me like the issue that you're articulating here is not one of you being hacked or stalked or followed in this particular respect. It sounds like you're discovering information about his whereabouts that you're not happy with.
About me hacked and stalked. I don't care about his whereabouts. I accept the divorce. I am in fear because I'm always being monitored. I don't want to be monitored all the time. I've lost 30 pounds. I don't want to leave me alone. I don't want people following me. I don't want people reporting back to you. Leave me alone. I just want to be free. Let me go. This monitoring, this sneaky stalking stuff, I don't know what she's talking about, but I don't want that. So the fact that he admits that he was in Hampton, Georgia, like I said, I never knew he went to Hampton, Georgia.
I don't know.
Miss Benjamin, I'm just going to jump in, and I don't want the back and forth.
No,
I don't understand what it has to do with anything.
It has to do with his code. He just admitted. He just keep asking me, did I put his email in for me to get Hampton, Georgia? And I'm like, no, I didn't put your email in. Find My Phone with my own email showed Hampton, Georgia. And him saying that lets you know right there, Judge, with all due respect. I'm just saying when I research to see what's what, his co-worker and another co-worker does live in Hampton, Georgia. Also on October 22nd, he was in Hampton, Georgia. I don't care about Hampton, Georgia. I care that I'm finding my phone is located in places where he's been. That's my problem. Because you got control. And he told me what the M-Spy app did when he had it on my phone before, because I caught him and I said, I don't like that. He said it records from the front screen, the back camera, it records whenever he wants it to record. He controls the text. He can see what everything, every text, every call, can delete things from your phone, put things in your phone. And also, I don't like somebody called me trying to buy a prostitute, and I have the conversation and play right here. And it's just, I'm sick of weird stuff going on with my phone. Like, stop.
All right. So tell me about the extent of the in-person interactions you've had with him across April, May, June. There was the incident where he was at the church. Y'all did not speak. He did not speak to you or initiate contact, but he was there. And that's been it for the last 3 months. Is that correct? April, May, June?
No, March when he showed up and he wouldn't leave. And he was like, where's my Xbox? Where's that whole thing when I called the cops? And he was looking through my windows of my car and circling the neighborhood. That was March 31st, that issue. And I've been reporting about, like I said, this hacking thing and him like putting like mail, just weird stuff, like your sister's mail is coming to my house and she lives in New Jersey and that never happened. Just like stuff like that. I just want to be left alone, like all the monitoring, and I'm just tired. I'm so exhausted with it.
All right.
I don't want to have
Mr. Benjamin, what other questions do you have? I'm sorry, sir, you're muted. There's a button you'll have to click to unmute and then we can hear you.
On March 31st, unknown to me that you were moving, was I scheduled to pick up my son that day? Question mark.
I don't know if you scheduled to pick him up that day. You know the situation with my attorney putting in an intent to withdraw, and that's when you guys filed the paperwork on the next day or the day after, which is okay, that was different.
So let me backtrack to clarify a few things for my understanding.
I didn't know what the order said. That's what I'm saying.
So even though this is a little bit out of order, I feel like you're the best person to ask this and us just move on. Mr. Benjamin, when was the divorce filed?
In September.
Of 2022.
Correct.
Okay. And Miss Benjamin, is there a custody or parenting plan type agreement that is in place while the court case is pending?
I believe that there is, but like I said, I'm not sure because what my attorney that I had at the moment, she put in an intent to withdraw, but she didn't file it into the court. So him and his attorney were filing things as if I still had an attorney because my attorney didn't notify them that she was no longer my attorney. And I have
So
the
when did you come to believe that your attorney was going to no longer be your attorney?
when she
Or no longer?
when she told me, I don't know, she told me the night before, but the next day I checked the mailbox and it wasn't even like next day mail, it's regular mail, and it had a letter in there with intent to withdraw. It has the date stamped on it because it's from the post office.
So estimate the date for me. That's what I'm trying to get
I
to.
believe March 3rd. March 3rd.
Beginning of March.
Yes.
Okay, and then the incident at the house with the car windows and so on, that was end of March.
Yes.
May,
Okay.
in May. May
Well,
31st.
It was March 31st when you came to the house in circling the neighborhood and stuff. That was March 31st.
her testimony was that the house incident was March, the church incident was May. So you'll have a chance to give your corrected version of anything you disagree with on that front. It's not that it's unimportant, but if the only thing you two disagree about the two incidents is the date of them, it doesn't change that it's two incidents in the last 3 or 4 months, and then the court evaluates that for whatever it's worth based on the other evidence as part of the hearing. But all right.
It is March, March. I haven't seen them since it. Yeah.
All right. So I think that's all the questions I have for Miss Benjamin right now. Miss Benjamin, did you intend to have anybody else testify on your behalf today?
Yes. My daughter, what is it you want?
All right. So if we can get her kind of in frame with you to the extent that that's possible, you may, if you turn the phone sideways, it may flip the camera and make that a little bit easier. Like if you put the phone, instead of up and down, if you do it side to side, I don't know if that actually showed up.
Just try to lean in. Let's see. I'll just the phone. I know we got to keep it plugged because of the it's been, wait a minute.
I was going to say, well, it lets you push it about 1 more inch to your right.
Is that
There you
better?
go. Yeah, it's getting there.
That stand is just, I might have to unplug it. It might be the problem.
That's okay. If I think we got it now, so we'll roll with this.
Okay.
All right. So, ma'am, I'm going to ask you now to raise your right hand,
So
please.
first, what I noticed is we're on a family plan.
We're not ready for that. I asked you to
I'm
raise
sorry, I
your
can't
hand.
hear you.
Raise your hand.
Oh.
There we go. All right. I need.
Just go ahead.
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
Am I back on speaker now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. Good start. Do you swear the statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, I swear.
All right. You can put your hand down. Now, what have you come here to tell us today?
Well, we're on a family plan with the phones. And one thing that I noticed that I see over like months, it's been like months. I keep constantly seeing this, and I've seen it as of recently, but it keeps on saying there's been change with the family plan, or there's changes in the account, or somebody made a change to account. And I know I don't have any control over changing the account because he won't allow us to have the code to our phones, because I tried to switch over my phone service because I got a new phone and he wouldn't allow me to get the code. Like he has control over the code.
High security.
Yes, high security over.
Even on Amazon, it's high security. Everything.
Okay, ma'am, you had your chance to testify. Now it's her chance to testify. So we're going to focus on your daughter's testimony. So you say that he essentially can construct barriers in that way to what you're able to do with your devices.
Yes.
Okay. And what else have you come here to tell us today?
Okay, and to add to that, sometimes like as right now, I don't have any messages from him. So it's always constant changes, and sometimes messages disappear between me and him. Like I have a bunch of text messages
Oh my God.
and all these text messages disappeared out of nowhere, and it's just very strange because it said a change was made to the account, and now it's just only text messages it's just messages that I send. There's no messages with him, just me texting him. And then I have proof of basically there being constant changes to the account. I have proof of that as well, if you want to see it.
What does changes to the account mean?
Make changes to, basically, if you're in control and you have a family plan, you can make changes to the account. You can mess with the service. You can prevent somebody from trading the service.
So I guess let me ask this clarifying question, because there's two very different things here. There's a difference between being in charge of the account and controlling the account and doing something that is illegal surveillance or close to it. So if he's preventing you from making changes or removing devices from the plan or updating things on the plan, I don't know why that should mean anything to me in the context of this court case, because it doesn't establish that anything inappropriate, improper, or illegal is going on as far as what's being monitored.
Okay.
That's the cleanest way I can explain it. It's complicated when technology is involved. So do you have some belief that communications are being intercepted, monitored, etc.?
Proof is being taken. If there's no text messages between me or him anymore, and it's just me texting him, there's been times where I would try to call him, it's blocked off. It'll say blocking is active, and he says, oh, I don't know what's going on with it, but when I mention it, it'll change. That means he has control over the account, and he won't allow me to have the codes to transfer service, anything. So it does have a lot to do with it, because he could also be monitoring me, and that's my personal stuff. So he's able to see photos, he's able to see text, he's able to see the call log if we're all on a family plan and he has the code. And nobody else has the code but him.
Okay, so what evidence do you have that he has done that?
The evidence that I had is how he reacted to me transferring my phone. He did not want me to be there with him when he transferred my the service on my phone. He was against it. But in the beginning, he was like, we can go together. And then he switched up and said, no, we can't go together. You can't get the code. Basically saying my mom is doing illegal things just because she pulled out the call log. And it's so he can hide information. He doesn't want anybody to get any information. And that's why this is important, because he's trying to hide evidence and get rid of information, whether it's from her or me. And that's why having control over the service and the family account and having the code, that's why this is a part of the whole stalking.
And so why do you think he's trying to hide that information from you and your mom?
Any information that is, since the divorce is going on, any information that makes him looks bad in the divorce is the stuff that's going to be removed. It could be about our whereabouts, because you can hear on the phone, conversations on the phone. You can see photos, screenshots, anything he's going to remove, because there's been a couple of phone conversations that I have recorded and there's no sound on there. And usually there's sound. So this is a part of stalking, and just so he can control the narrative with the whole divorce.
All right, Mr. Benjamin, do you have questions for this witness?
Yeah, I told you, okay. Do you know why I put high security on the phone?
No.
Can I answer that for her? Can I tell her why? I told her why.
You can later when it's
Okay.
your turn, but for now you don't need to. She said, and let me ask the question a slightly different way. Has he ever given you an explanation for why he did it?
No, he never gave me an explanation for
Okay,
why.
and I'll jump in there. The reason I ask it that way is because you may have given her a reason and she just doesn't think that it was valid, but she's testified you never gave her an explanation. What's your next question?
My next question is, I just don't have any questions for her. She's a child. But the apartment, okay, did I send a text message to pick up my son? Because you're in a group text when I send message, because she doesn't answer. But have I been trying to get my son and given out the schedule of my arrangement pickups?
Yes, but we already discussed that we wouldn't be able to do drop off at that time. We let you know ahead of time. I always get in contact. You used to get in contact through me first, and I used to talk to my mom, and I always informed you about information. But then you did the group text, so it wasn't a reason to, because my mom would directly text you and let you know.
He doesn't respond to my text.
So
message.
hang on a second. So for my clarification, ma'am, when you said there was a time for drop off that didn't work, are you referencing on one particular day, or are you saying in general, like, oh, we can't do drop off at 5 p.m. or whatever the specific time would be?
Yes, in general, we always communicate about the drop off location. Sometimes I drop my brother off, and we always discuss about a time and where to drop him off. So it's never an issue.
Okay, but so you're saying there was one particular custody exchange where the time that was being discussed was not an option.
We were moving at the time.
So that was the end of March, that incident?
Yes.
And then what followed from that?
So what followed from that is the church incident, which she mentioned.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase. So when you said you couldn't meet him in the March incident, did he come to the house?
Yes.
Were you at the house?
Yes, I was at the house. He came unannounced. We
It's
basically told him we
It's
wouldn't be.
court ordered, just to say that.
You and your lawyer put in a paper.
All right,
when
we
I-
are not going back and forth this way. Mr. Benjamin, you do not
Sorry.
interrupt a witness when they are speaking. Miss Benjamin, it's definitely not your turn. We've got your daughter on our imaginary witness stand, so we're going to make the most of it and pretend that we are in the physical courtroom where all these rules would apply. I'll address the question to the witness. So you told him that the child could not be exchanged at whatever time was being discussed, and this was in a group text that involved at least the three of you, correct?
We didn't do group texting. I think this
Okay.
is what between me and him, because he used to get in contact with me. He used to go through me so they can have less contact. And I used to tell my mom about time and location and everything.
Okay, and so on this particular day, the response you conveyed was, can't do it, we've got other stuff going on because you were moving.
Yes.
Okay, and then he showed up unannounced at the location that you were moving out of?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then what happened when he showed up at the house?
When he showed up at the house, obviously, my friend was there and they're also a witness. They saw him circling the neighborhood and also looking in my mother's car. And that's when they came back up and told me what they saw. And they were also asking my friend questions about what's going on. And my friend was like, I don't want to be involved. He didn't.
You're saying that Mr. Benjamin was asking your friend questions.
Yes.
Okay, so he shows up at the house. Does he eventually take the child with him, or does the child remain there?
No, he continued to knock on the door, and we basically said we're busy and we didn't tell you to come. He knocked on the door and he refused to leave.
Okay, do you have any knowledge of whether there's a court order in effect that dictated how they were supposed to be handling visitation at this particular point?
Yes. Well, our neighborhood is not forcing the strict them passing bin back and forth, but basically he's not even supposed to come in the neighborhood. We're supposed to meet up at the front where the office is at. He's not even supposed to directly come to the neighborhood and knock on the door. He's supposed to be met at the front of the office.
Okay, so this was a date that the child was supposed to be picked up by him, as far as you know.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is to the extent that you know, what is the split between both parents? Is it like 50-50? Is it every other weekend goes to this person, or do you know?
I know a little bit, but I wouldn't consider it 50-50 because there is sometimes where he's not able to get him for whatever reason, and there's sometimes where he skipped days. Like we were like, oh,
Well, let me ask this, because we're going to focus.
Okay.
Most of the questions I'm going to focus on the paperwork to the extent that you know it, because this is a Gwinnett County case. I'm inferring because I don't see anything in our system.
All right.
So, do you stay with your mom?
Yes.
Okay, and so you're there all the time ish, give or take. Maybe some variation here and there. I don't. But so is your sibling supposed to be there roughly half the time, or some different amount, to the extent that you know?
Mostly with us.
Okay, and then was there a particular time in this early stage of the court case that they were supposed to be with Mr. Benjamin?
Only for a couple of days. He'll take him for a couple of days or one day for a couple of hours. I'm not I don't know all the information to that, but he will take him whenever he's off or have time.
Okay, so not a 50-50 arrangement, but he had designated times that were supposed to be his, and to the best of your knowledge, the incident in March was probably one of those times.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I think that's all the questions that I have. I thank you for your testimony today. If we were in the courtroom, I would tell you could step off the witness stand and go back outside or wherever you needed to be. Ms. Benjamin, is this your last witness?
Is there, I don't know if the other one is here.
Oh, we may have someone in the waiting room. They would be logged in on a separate device, correct?
Yes.
All right, let me look and see what I have. All right, I have somebody labeled as 14, P as in Peter, W as in William 1. If you could unmute and turn your camera on for me, please. If you're a witness in the Benjamin versus Benjamin case. All right, I've sent a prompt asking them to unmute and start their video. We'll see if we're able to secure their participation. All right, ma'am, I have sent you a prompt to unmute. If you can click that, hopefully you'll be able to hear me. All right, ma'am, can I ask your name, please?
Barely can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear the statements you make to the court will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right. Can you state your name, please?
Latasha Ridley.
All right. Ms. Wrigley, what are you here to tell us today regarding acts of violence, threats of violence, stalking, or trespassing between these parties?
Well, from the things that I've witnessed was I was able to hear a conversation once where a statement was made saying that you don't know what almost happened to you yesterday. And this was like the day, I guess a few days or day after they had a hearing and he was supposed to come and get the child. And he was
So let me jump in real quick. Can you estimate approximately when all this took place?
I don't know the exact date.
Okay, I'm going to give you three choices. Sometime in 2022, sometime maybe around March, or sometime within the last month or two.
Oh no, this was this year.
Okay, good start.
Within the last, I would say 3 or 4 months, within the last 3 or 4 months.
Okay, and where did this discussion take place?
I was at her house after church because she wanted me to go and go with her so that I could drop the child off to the father. And because she didn't want to have any contact with him. And so I was there waiting. When he called, he said that he had left the car seat at home and that he would have to go all the way home and get it. And she was saying that I could meet him with the child. Then he said that he would want to change it to another day. It was just some intermediate conversation going on. And then he said that he changed it to he wasn't going to come and get him. And she was doing some talking. He was like, see, this is what I'm talking about. You always talking and running your mouth, be quiet. I'm trying to let you know what's going on. And you don't know what almost happened to you yesterday. It just was a random. And I think she was on one phone. I was on the other phone. So it was her. She was talking to him on one phone and I was on the other phone.
Okay. And did you ever figure out what that was referring to?
No, I did not. But I did ask her when she got off the phone. And I was like, what do you think that was in reference to? And she just said, I'm not sure because because I was upset yesterday when I left the court, I was crying and they escorted me outside to make sure I was going to be all right.
So they had just had a court date in person where they were both there at the courthouse?
Yes.
Okay. Was that in Gwinnett?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else I have not thought to ask about that you have come here to tell us today?
When she was on the phone one time before, she was saying that he had showed up unannounced and she had to call the cops. He showed up to get the child unannounced and she had to call the cops. And the cops did come out, but they didn't, I guess they escorted him out or told him to leave. I know they had to end up escorting her daughter and her boyfriend out of the neighborhood as well.
No, this was not an incident you were present for. This was an incident that you heard about through her. Is that
yes,
right?
I was on the phone.
Okay, so you're on the phone as the incident is unfolding?
So once it started, it had already started. And then after it started, and she was like, hey, I'm calling you because I had to call the cops because Jojo was out here. He showed up unannounced and he was looking around my car and I don't know. I asked him to leave.
Okay. All right. And you have no knowledge of whether anyone was arrested on that day or not arrested. Is that correct?
Well, she told me no one was arrested. The cops asked him to leave. And she said that when she tried to go back and get a report for that incident, that nobody would give her one for it. So I'm not sure what else happened on that.
Okay. All right. Anything else we've missed so far?
And then there was an incident. He showed up recently at our church. It was kind of weird to me because I know she would tell me that she would always ask him a couple of times to come to church, or she would be watching church service and he never wanted to come. But recently, within the last maybe month or so, I think is if I'm correct, he showed up at church service and that was really weird. But he didn't let her know that he was coming to the church service or to the church, and he didn't mention anything about getting the child.
Okay, so you were there and saw him that day?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see him interact with? Did he interact with you at all on that day?
No, he didn't interact with me, and I didn't witness him interact with her on that day.
You're reading my mind. You already knew my next question. All right. So, okay. So you didn't see any interactions between them, but he was present that day. And then after church was over, did you see him after church or observe him outside the actual worship hall or whatever term you use for the main building?
No, so I stay inside. After service is over, there's normally like some overflow, what we call overflow, which is prayer and all that going on. So I stay inside while the remainder of the visitors or members or crowd is leaving out. But I didn't see him after that. But security did have to escort her to a different area for security purposes.
Okay, so she saw him. She had someone take her either through or out a different way, and then to the best of your knowledge, she was able to leave and go home, or
Well,
who departed or how?
So the security team, they were trying to make sure that either he was gone or he could not see her from where she was or wherever she was going, because they're police as well. So they were just trying to double check and make sure he wasn't in view, or if he was gone, or if the coast was clear before they allowed her to leave. But after that, I don't know what happened because I was still inside, but I did see them walking her to different exits.
Okay. I'm going to ask this one way and then a slightly different way. Do you know exactly how security came to be involved on this particular day?
She mentioned to me, did I see them? And then I told her, no, I didn't see them. I didn't
In
see
reference
him.
to security?
Yes, she mentioned to me, did I see Laker in the service? And I said, no, I didn't see him. I was like, where is he? And she said, he's over there. And I said, well, you need to let security know. I said, are you afraid? Are you okay? She was like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I said, well, just make security aware, and then they'll handle it from there.
Okay, so your best guess would be that you kind of referred her to security. So your best guess would be that she found them and alerted them to what she was concerned about.
Well, she did ask me, should she tell security?
Okay. All right. I think that's all the questions I have. Mr. Benjamin, do you have questions for this witness?
Pertaining to, no, I feel like I'm being railroad here, but pertaining to the conversation that I've had with Talisa, who seems to be the aggressor when we talk? Doesn't she over talk and doesn't let people talk to get their mind across?
So yes, Talisa does talk because she has a lot to say, because she feels like she was left without an answer, and she's like, I gotta just say what I gotta say while I have him on the phone, because otherwise he won't listen to me. That's what I'm told. I don't know what happens when you guys talk on your own. And so for the most part, what I know about the situation is that she was like, listen, I need someone on the phone at all times, because he keeps saying that I won't let him talk. I overtalk him. I feel like he's not letting me talk. So both of you guys feel like you're not letting each other talk, from what I'm understanding. But she's like, I just want to witness because I don't want to seem like I'm, trying to be a certain way. I just want answers. So yes, she does have a lot of questions and a lot to say, but she just feels like she's not getting any answers to anything. And it is aggravating. So most of the time she's like, why this or why that? I don't understand what's going on. So yes, she does talk a lot when you are on the phone with her. I can say that.
How long have we been married?
Approximately, I'm thinking maybe 11 years married.
Have I ever been violent to Talisa? Have I ever put my hands on Talisa?
I've never seen you put your hands on Talisa.
I guess that's it, man. That's it.
All right, ma'am, we're going to place you back in the waiting room, but you're free to log off, and you've done everything you need to do for us today. We thank you for all your patience.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Benjamin, do you rest?
I'm sorry.
Is that your final witness?
Yes.
All right. The petitioner having rested, Mr. Benjamin, this is your turn. If you are inclined to present testimony or evidence to do so, would you like to testify today?
Yes.
All right. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear the statements you make will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Tell us what you'd like to tell us today.
Pertaining to the phone issue, my phone service has been transferred to her phone. And I called Metro because my phone was saying unrestricted. I couldn't make any calls. I was at the gym. And I went to Metro. They said your service has been transferred to a Moto Stylus, which is her phone. And That's the reason why I put high security on the phone, Shariah and Talisa, because she did that. And I told them I need documentation of her transferring my service to her phone. I had to pay a fee to get my phone back. I haven't seen my son since April 24th of this year. My attorney recently filed a motion for contempt. Now, when I let you guys know, I have evidence of me sending text messages of when the scheduled pickup is, the time and dates and everything. When I send this out to her, Shariah responds sometimes the mother responds, and sometimes she don't respond. Sometimes she says he's sick. And I can still take care of him when he's sick. If he needs to go to the doctor, I'm still his parent. When I show up, I stay for 30, 40 minutes, then I leave. Pertaining to that day when you was moving out, unknowing, I didn't know you was moving. I just showed up for my visitation that I sent a text message on Tuesday stating to be at your house to pick up my child. I show up. Other times I've showed up before. All of a sudden I'm just this bad person out of nowhere. I'm doing all this stuff out of nowhere. I know I'm not doing it. So file for motion for contempt, and then all of a sudden I get a restraining order. I don't know what the angle is for the restraining order. I feel it's retaliation for it, but she's been also sending text messages harassing my friends and my family, asking them for money and slandering me. I have the evidence. So all that I've submitted, showing up to her church as a patron to get the word. I didn't talk to anybody about you. I didn't see you there, nor saw Tasha there. I came, got the word, and left. That was it. Also, I have my court order for my visitation. She says she has with her attorney. She got a new attorney. My attorney let her new attorney know the new court order, and she's still not complying. So when I take pictures 30, 40 minutes after I've been there, that's why I stayed 30, 40 minutes to document it. That I waited, gave you time, you don't respond, you don't even answer the phone when I call. So you saying I'm hacking your phone, but you have more than one phone you're claiming. So how can I hack all these phones I don't even know the number to? Don't know the numbers to these other phones you have. You don't need to answer the phone. So I'm not doing that. I filed for divorce to get away from you. Why am I stalking you?
Exactly.
Why? Why are you looking up my coworkers and looking up Kurt Casey? How did you get that call log without my number? Because you hacked my phone through Metro and transferred the service over there. And I told Metro to document it, put me high security because I need this if I need it for court. Like, and the mental illness that I had, that was over 15 years ago. I had a nervous breakdown. Yes, you was there for me for it. That's why I stayed so long for the marriage, or to work it out and stay with you, because you was there for me. And you know this. But yeah, that was over 15 years ago. I had a nervous breakdown. Yes, I'm a diagnosed schizophrenic. I haven't had an incident since 15 years ago. And that was when I first moved down here. I have never been abusive to her. I try to take count of my words. She cut deep with her words. But for what happened? Oh, so she verbally abuses me. That's how a woman cut a man. A man physically abuses. I don't do that to her. I don't put my hands on her. I left for my health, my sanity. And she doesn't understand that. She doesn't take accountability. Stop. That's all.
So nobody has actually told me.
Wait, one more thing. One more thing. Me sending me the videos I have sent and of her talking, she's been mostly the aggressive in these videos that I'm saying, coming at me, arguing with me in front of the child, which is part of the court order. We're not supposed to talk about stuff like that in front of the kid. Give me my kid, I go. I just want to see my kid. That's it. That's it. And pertaining to her emails, you called Yahoo. What did Yahoo say about your emails? Were you able to retrieve your emails?
Well, we're not here to ask her questions at the moment. This is just our chance to hear from you. So
I'm sorry.
So what is the custody agreement supposed to grant you?
Well, my days off alternate. So I'm off Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's funny. That's why I always let her know what it is. So she's like, in a week in advance, I'll let her know. Or the day before, I'll let her know. If I can't get him, let me know 24 hours before. That's in the court order.
So how many days in an average period? And you tell me what this period is: a week, a month, 2 weeks, whatever.
Okay.
How many days are you supposed to have with the child in a typical window?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 times a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 days, or like 6 periods that could be multiple days?
Oh, six days out of the month on my days off when I work. That's when I get them, on my days off. The day before my day off, pretty much. So I get a full day. And then Tuesday, The last day would be more like in the evening, so it has a full 2-day span.
All right, Ms. Benjamin, are there any questions I need to ask this witness that we haven't covered yet during the hearing?
Okay, I would like to say, when he said, has he hit me
No,
before?
are there any questions for this witness?
Yeah,
Okay,
okay. Have you bitten me before, and how many times?
Have I bitten you?
Yeah, have you bitten me?
I don't recall.
You don't recall whether or not you bite me before?
Yeah, I don't recall.
Okay. Okay. Also, out of those 6 days, isn't one of those days you only have him for 2 hours or not?
Oh yeah, that's my dinner date. I did miss that. Yeah, I do have a dinner date for with him when I have a stretch because my days off. I go through like a 7-day stretch. I do have a dinner date with him on Tuesday from 5 to 8 or 5 to 7. Yeah, I do. I forgot to add that. Yes, I do.
And don't you also have 1 week where you don't have to get them at all? That's your week off, right? From
A week,
getting
a
them.
week. Yes, a weekend to myself because I give up all my days off. Yeah,
So does that equate to 6 times a month?
it does. I just looked at the
That
calendar.
is, I mean,
Yes,
6
it does.
It actually equates to, okay.
it doesn't matter what it equates to
Anyhow,
for what we're here for. So
anyhow,
um,
did you, when you changed the, what changes did you make to the phone recently, June the 13th, June the 16th, and yesterday? And were those changes to my phone or
No.
Soraya's phone?
No, they were not changes for your phone.
What
You
were
or
those?
Shariah. There were no changes done to you or Shariah's phone.
Okay, also, with the videos that you have with me, upset, wasn't one of those videos when my car needed to be in be in the shop to be repaired, and the other car was at the mechanics because it was not working, and I told you I would have no way to take the baby to therapy? Wasn't one of those videos because I was upset because you refused to help take the baby to therapy or get the other car out of shop so he wouldn't miss 2 weeks of therapy, which is 20 some hours a week? Wasn't those videos, a lot of those videos, reactionary, my reaction to those type of ordeals? Yes or no?
No.
So none of those videos, I never went off about you not you telling me no, you're not going to take him to therapy and things like that.
No.
That never happens.
No, you're asking, are those the videos? No, they're not the videos. That's the question.
Okay. Well, also, what happens when my baby first tooth fell out? What actually happened to the inside of his lip because it was busted?
I don't know. When I got him, he was fine. When I took him home, I noticed his teeth was out. His baby teeth came out. He's 5. They're gonna come out. And he was eating food. It wasn't bleeding. And then I was like, oh, his teeth came out. I let you know about it, and that was it. I dropped him off with your brother. Wait. I dropped him off with your brother that day with his 3 kids in your car. And he was fine with me. So all of a sudden, when he comes with me, I started taking pictures of him before I get him back.
so I have a follow-up question for me. What teeth are we talking about?
Baby teeth. He's 5 and one of his bottom teeth came out.
We're talking about tooth.
A tooth, yeah, baby tooth.
But
Okay. If it was more than one, I would have more follow-up questions. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, it was 1 tooth.
Okay. Well, how did the tooth was missing? Was I with my brother when he gave you Ben? Was I in the car with him?
No, no, he wasn't.
I actually wasn't quick trip.
I was actually there before you guys, so he pulled up. So
I was there. The kid,
Okay.
those kids didn't knock his tooth out. But so how did the scratch? Because he came home.
We're not here about the child, so I don't have any other. Do we have any questions that are not about the child?
It's about my child's safety. Somebody whacked him in the mouth if the
Well,
inside.
he's not a subject of this TPO. You have not filed a protective order seeking protection on his behalf, even if you've listed him as a protected party.
Okay.
And so that's 2 slightly different things. But
Okay.
all right,
Okay.
any other questions for this witness?
I said this to my kid.
The other question is this. When I told you I didn't, the other question is this. Were you looking through my car and circling the neighborhood? Yes or no?
Yeah, I moved my car because the kids were throwing football by my car. That were your people's kids and brothers and sisters.
No, were you looking inside of my car? That's the question.
Yeah, when I walked by it, yeah. I looked inside. I didn't go in your car. It was parked right there in front of the house.
Why were you peeping through my car windows? Why?
Because I have eyes. I didn't touch anything. You were moving. And I still have stuff there that belongs to me, but you could keep them.
Slander is slander a truth or a lie?
It's a lie.
Okay, so when you said I slandered you in that particular text, I asked you to send me $10 to get your son some pull-ups. And when you refused, I sent that text to some of my friends, not just your friends, my friends, a couple of your family members and friends. But it wasn't just your people, it was my people too. I was asking for pull-ups. You told me no. So
I didn't tell you no. I didn't get the message.
Is it slander if I actually asked you and you said no, for me to say I asked and he said no, can you help me? Is it slander? Did I slander you?
All right, it's 3:46 in the afternoon, and my patience was left somewhere probably in the 2 o'clock hour. I'm just going to declare that the evidence is closed because I don't think this is a productive line of questioning. And we're going to place you both back in the
Okay.
waiting room so I can take some deep breaths.
Okay.
This was a fairly long and exhaustive hearing.
Am
And-
I supposed to unmute?
Nope, you can stay on mute. That'll be just fine. Thank you. So we have covered a whole lot of ground about any number of different things, but what I am left to decide in this case, as with any other, are a few separate questions, but the one that tips the scales typically in these situations is whether or not an act of family violence has been committed in which the respondent was the predominant aggressor, and whether this order can help prevent that in the future. The allegations that have been presented here, there aren't any specific allegations regarding him affirmatively, intentionally carrying out any sort of violence against a child or really the other parties here. But what we're here for in terms of discussing things that have happened recently, putting the allegations of violence aside because they haven't really been part of this, is the question of stalking. And it's a complicated question. And part of what is challenging about this case to me is this. The type of decisions and behavior that I see being made here by the respondent in many ways are the type of controlling actions that are very much in keeping with a lot of the behavior that we see take place in this court. At the same time, I don't believe that I have the evidence that's necessary to extend the order. And the reason for that is because what I can't say is being done, what I can't say has been proven, or what I can't say is confirmed, is that that the things that are being done for the purpose of monitoring or surveilling the petitioner. And the amount of control he exerts over a phone plan, for example, is a very different question than whether he's monitoring someone's location, following them, reading their messages, and so on. And that is a very complicated and technical issue that I am just not prepared to rule on at this time. And so my ruling today is that I will be declining to extend the order. And that is something that will take typically 48 to 72 hours for that denial to reach the system. But when it does, it will mean that the protective order is removed from the system. And whatever other court orders are in place from this court or any other, specifically the one from Gwinnett, because that's the one that I know about, will continue to govern things like visitation, custody exchange, child support, and anything else that is ongoing in this litigation. So that is my ruling for today. We are going to place the parties back in the waiting room, at which point they will be free to log off and enjoy the rest of their days. I wish you all luck as you move forward with things, and encourage you to take any issues that need to be protected against, litigated, or decided to the divorce court, so that the divorce court can make the appropriate rulings, determinations, and orders in those matters. I want to thank everyone again for your time today.